You're tuned in to Oilers Nation every day with Tyler Yaremchuk, live every weekday on the Nation Network YouTube.
Happy holidays, Nation citizens. Welcome back into Oilers Nation every day. It's a Sherwood Ford Giant game day, but there is a lot to get to because, and you may have forgot, the Oilers laid an egg before heading into the holiday break. And unfortunately, as much as I'd like to pretend it didn't happen, we do have to discuss it. So let's get into that with the lead. The lead, as always, is brought to you by our friends at Soho Yeg. You can check them out downtown on special, $9 game days. It's half price wings. The game's on a 100-inch screen at the front of the bar, and they have great drink specials as well. Jay, you are along for a Sherwood Ford Giant Game Day edition of the show. Happy holidays. How was your Christmas weekend?
Well, first of all, Merry Christmas, Tyler. Christmas weekend was great. Just took it easy with the family at home and really didn't do much and ate a bunch of food, a bunch of sweets, and got some presents. What's not to like allowed me to forget what happened on the 23rd. You said they laid an egg.
Oh.
We'll call it a Christmas egg. And that was, and here we are. How about you?
Oh, yeah, I had a great weekend. I just sat alone and was miserable about the Oilers game on Friday. I refused to interact with anyone. I'm kidding, obviously. Had a great Christmas with the family. But let's talk about that game on Friday, because everything was setting up for that to be a big moment potentially for the season, right? Like, you're home, you're heading into the Christmas break, and it's like, here we go. Giddy up. Hammer the Canucks. They're not a good hockey team. They're starting a guy who only had one other game on the season, and they got off to a fantastic start, which is maybe the most frustrating part of this, because usually their starts have been killing them. But in the first period, the scoring chances at 5-on-5 were 16-3 for the Edmonton Oilers. 16-3. The shots at one point were like 10 or 11-1 as well, and then they just, I don't even know how to describe it properly on air, but they were brutal in the final 20 minutes of that game. Really, the final 40 minutes of that game were not that good. It's just remarkable to see them gift a game to the Vancouver Canucks, because that shouldn't happen. That cannot happen.
That's exactly it. We go up 2-0 and we gave up 5 straight to lose the game to a team that's not that good in not a must-win situation, but it just sets up everything nice going into the holidays, coming out of the holidays with the schedule getting tougher, a lot of divisional games. You know, that's just a win that we should have had. It was in our hands and we just let it go. We Oilered.
And when you look back over the last couple of weeks with this hockey team, I mean, the game against St. Louis, you have a power play late in the game up by 1. That should have been an easy 2 points. You blow it. Anaheim, terrible hockey team. You blow it. Vancouver, not a good hockey team. You're up 2-0. You blow it. You don't even get a point in those last 2. So that was 6 points that were just right there for you. Nice and easy. We're all wrapped up nicely under the tree. And you find a way to just get one of those 6. Oh man, it's brutal. A couple of other things from that game against Vancouver. I thought it was interesting the way Woodcroft seemed to even out the minutes a little bit at 5-on-5. Like, McDavid played 23 minutes and 43 seconds, but about 8 minutes of that came either power play, shorthanded, or when the goalie was out. When you look at the minutes at 5-on-5, it was actually one of their more even games of the season, which I thought was interesting from Woodcroft, considering they're heading into a break. They had 3 days off after that. But there just really wasn't a lot to like. I didn't think Stuart Skinner was great. The blue line was not good once again. And yeah, they got 33 shots. And I mentioned how good the scoring chances were in the first, but then they just totally took their foot off the gas in the final 40 minutes. Like, in those final 40, I think they had 1 or 2 good scoring chances. It was not good.
Oh, we just totally took the foot off the gas. Like, we were already,
Yeah.
on our second plate of Christmas dinner in the second period and just kind of timed out. I just don't get it. Like, we had a weird December. This was a chance to win a game and just go into the holiday season on a good note and just kind of get back on the rails coming out of Christmas. And we literally just gave it away. There's obviously something kind of systemic going on with the team. I don't know what it is, and I can go on my normal brand rant about defense, but like, really, these guys just got to get their shit together. Like, that's all that needs to happen. We shouldn't be losing the Vancouver Canucks. Doesn't matter what our roster construction is. So it's just, we can keep saying it's disappointing. It's disappointing, and we just have to, thankfully, I personally have had a few days to kind of get over it. And now, we got a
Yeah.
big BOA tonight, which is why we're here today. And we just got to focus on that and get the W and just move on. Like, it's so funny how this season's kind of similar to last season. And, we're going to have Evander Kane coming back in the lineup probably around the same time that he did in the season last year. And then all of a sudden, maybe that's the galvanizing thing that gets us on this hot run. But right now, what's going on, it ain't it. And we got to get this sorted.
We are live, as always, on the Nation Network YouTube, where our like goal today is 47. 47. Why? Because there are 47 games left in the regular season for the Edmonton Oilers. And you mentioned same spot as last year. Our guy Tyler Yaremchuk is in the YouTube chat on the Nation Network. Drop a like so we can hit our like goal today. He says same record as last season through 35 games. Yes, that is correct. The Oilers right now are at the exact same point they were, 18, 15, and 2. That's exactly what they were through 35 games last season. And it's a big stretch of games coming up. What's interesting is looking back at last season and the way that went. In the 15 games following, so games 36 to 50, the Oilers actually had a really good record. They went 10-4-1 in the next 15. But when you look at their what the actual games were in that span, I don't know, I got a bit of a chuckle out of it today. So it started, they lost 6-0 to Florida. And I remember that was a point they got blown out on home ice, and it was like, man, they'd lost to Florida and Ottawa back-to-back at home over the span of a week. And I was like, oh, man, they're firing Tippett now. Like, there's no way. I remember going to bed that night being like, tomorrow morning, we are getting a coach firing in Edmonton. And we didn't. And the team actually rattled off 4 straight wins after that with Dave Tippett still as the coach. So they were 4-1 and then 4-1-1 because they lost to Ottawa in OT. And it felt like at that point, okay, the Oilers are starting to turn around their season. They went to Washington after that. They beat Washington. They were 5-1-1. And I was like, man, they're really starting to piece this together, like finding some momentum. And then they got shut out on home ice against Vegas. And then they lost 4-1 against Chicago on home ice again. And that is when they finally fired Dave Tippett. They fell to 5-3-1. And then Woodcroft took over, and it was a win, a win, a win, a win, a win. 5 straight wins. And that's how the Oilers got to 10-4-1 in that stretch of 15 games. And what I've been saying about this year's Oilers team is that I still think they can be a 100-point club. I think they can get to the same point they did last season. But I said they're going to do it with a more balanced approach than they did last year. And my thinking was they aren't going to have just that putrid stretch of 6 weeks like they did under Dave Tippett before he got fired. And right now, it's kind of getting hard to see the light in a way, Jay, because you look at the numbers of what they need to do now to get to 100 points. They need 62 points in 47 games. They have to go 31-16 down the stretch, basically winning 2 out of every 3 for the rest of the season. That is very difficult to do. And I'll be honest, it's actually kind of hard to be confident in this team right now, considering what we've seen from them over the last 4 or 5 games.
Like, can they do it? Yes. But it's the hill is getting more difficult to climb. And, we can't afford to go on a 6-week skid like we did last year. We're kind of in the midst of one right now where we just can't figure it out. So something's got to come together here. And we just got to start playing better. Like, I know we're saying everyone's got to play better, defense has to play better, but they just got to figure it out. Like, you got Connor and Leon, 2 best players in the league, and they're just lighting up the league with points. But still, even they're not necessarily playing the same. They're chasing, trying to make the game happen, because if they don't, we probably don't have a chance to win. But they're trying too hard. There's maybe passes they shouldn't be making. It's forcing them to maybe do things maybe they shouldn't do. That's causing a lot of turnovers. We know their 5-on-5 isn't the greatest at the moment. These are all things we need to sort out going into the new year here, because 100 points, I saw your tweet and I see what the sentiment is across the nation, and it is no easy task, but very doable, very doable. I still believe, and I do hope that there's going to be some roster changes here to help bolster the lineup coming into playoffs. But right now, we just can't sit and be complacent and just think playoffs are a foregone conclusion. There is a ton of work to do now. We're not in the best place right now. We're out of a playoff spot. Huge game tonight against Calgary. Must win, get us back in the playoff spot, and then we go play Seattle a couple times. You get through the next 10 days and you put in a decent effort and, we can put ourselves in a decent position. That's what's kind of fortunate for us that lies ahead. But we got to go put the work in. We're like Team Canada last night, like trying to
Oof.
just skill up and just, got outworked by a team that was more determined than us. And we gotta figure this out, man, because every day we're talking about the same things and not seeing a different result, and it's driving me
Yeah.
crazy.
You were referencing the tweet I put out earlier, and if people want to play along with this question in the chat, feel free. I just said, give me one reason why you think the Oilers still can be a 100-point team this year, and give me one reason why you're the most worried that they can't. And a lot of it was kind of the same stuff from everyone who replied in the thread. A lot of McDavid and Draisaitl because Connor, because of McDavid. And a lot of the concerns, like you said, Jay, are just the exact same things that we've been sitting here talking about for the last 35 games. Okay, the blue line isn't good enough. A lot of people saying they're not confident in Ken Holland's ability to get this team what they need in order to sort things out as well. Jeff gave us a big list on Twitter. He said in the yes column, because Kane comes back and it strengthens the lineup, Campbell can't get worse than he was in the first 35 games, which I actually think is a decent point in all of this. Yes, he said, because Nurse will come around. We're still holding our breath on that. The reasons he said no, Holland won't upgrade the defense, Skinner gets hurt or his play declines, which, again, that's interesting as well. I was looking at the goaltending numbers too, Jay, and Stuart Skinner has started now 20 of the Oilers' 35 games. He has a 290 goals against average. He's got a 911 save percentage. You compare that to Campbell. Obviously, Skinner, the better numbers, but there are 37 games. We know Skinner is starting tonight, so that's one. But out of these last 47 games, how do you think we'll see the goalie workload be split up?
Well, I have a question first before I answer that. What is Skinner's numbers the last 10 starts he's had?
Well, I'm looking at his last 5 right now. It was an 862 against Vancouver, an 889 against Dallas, a 765 against Anaheim, then a 906 and a 933 against St. Louis. And Mini, in his last 5 games, he's allowed, let me do some Yaremchuk math, 16 goals against. So they're slipping.
He's slipping. Like he's a 911 right now. It's because he was probably 930 or 940 to on the first half of those starts. So he's starting to slide, and it's not necessarily Skinner sliding. It's just also what's happening in front of him. It's a collective effort. So
Yeah.
how do they go and split the starts? Like it's very important for us to have Campbell going. For a lot of reasons, but just to also take the workload off of Skinner. This is rookie year as a goalie, so and we're riding him hard, and he's been the better goalie, so we don't have a choice. We have to do it, but at some point that's not sustainable. He's still developing, and we're starting to see it. Actually, he's starting to slide a bit. So this is where Campbell's got to come in as the veteran and just kind of take the net back for a bit, or maybe go in a 50-50 situation, but also a 50-50 situation that the team in front of them can feel confident about, because we also play differently in front of each goalie. It's so weird to see. And that's another thing we need to solve. So, going into the home stretch, yeah, you would ideally, you would like to see 50-50 or even maybe go 60-40 Campbell versus Skinner. But the reality is we need wins. So whatever's working that's who's starting. And that's the unfortunate situation we're in right now.
Yeah. Looking ahead at what's coming for the Oilers, Mainlander Tim, love seeing you in the chat live. He says there's still a 100-point team, still play the Ducks and Sharks a lot, but I mean,
can we beat the Ducks?
But so that's the thing. And Eric followed up, said playing bad teams means nothing for the Oilers. Like, the reality is they have just as good of a shot as beating the Colorado Avalanche on any given night as they do of beating the Coyotes or the Ducks or the Sharks or whoever you want to throw in them from that perspective. Like, I mean, playing bad teams just means jack whatever. Like, it's meaningless for Edmonton.
I don't know why that's our brand, man. It's been our brand for so long. Why do we stoop down to these teams? Or we're always catching teams that are on just the worst streaks, and we're the ones that they break their streaks against. Or we get rookie 4-string goalies that we just can't score. Like we had Dahlia the other night, and then we had the Ducks goalie, whoever the hell his name is, a week before that. And we can't crack it. It's just it's mind blowing. Like you sit there, like I'm over getting like really upset because like then my life is just not in a good place. Like I just laugh now. Like it's comical when we lose to the Ducks. It's comical when we blow a 2-0 lead after the first and lose 5-2 to the Canucks. Like you got to sit back and just be like this is a joke, right? Like we are the better team, and I just it's hilarious, Tyler. That's the only way I can phrase it because
Yeah.
I can't say it's rage inducing anymore.
And maybe that's a reason to be positive about this team, right? Maybe you sit there and you go, okay, you somehow blow that weird game against the Blues. You put up 50 shots on the Ducks, you somehow lose. You blow one against the Canucks, which is just wildly uncharacteristic of the Oilers to play that bad in the second and third period. Usually it's the first that kills them. And maybe it's like, hey, eventually they'll just go on a run where breaks start going their way in some of these games. And tonight would be a hell of a spot for that to happen. It's the Oilers versus the Flames, the final Battle of Alberta of the season, which means it's the final BOA Sherwood Ford Giant Game Day edition of the show as well. Shout out to our friends at Sherwood Ford. They got their mobile service system, which is absolutely fantastic. And we have a link in the YouTube bio for today's show as well if you want to find out more. Shout out to our friends at Sherwood Ford. The Giant, the Calgary Flames, Jay, they're maybe starting to piece things together. They're 4-2-4 in their last 10 games. But they're coming off a road trip that was really solid, going 3-0-1 as they took on the Sharks twice, the Ducks, and the Kings. And you could sit there and say, hey, well, they played some bad teams. Yep, but it's those bad teams, which again, the way to do right now. The Flames scoring a ton as well. They're doing it with depth. In that 4-game road trip, they had multiple goals from Lucic, Kadri, Lindholm, Dubé, and Tyler Toffoli. They're getting depth scoring. They're playing a mean style of hockey, which you know Daryl Sutter loves. This Flames team is maybe starting to piece things together, and what's most important for them is the man between the pipes in Jacob Markstrom, who in his last 3 starts has only allowed 7 goals against. He's had a .900 or better save percentage in 2 of those 3 games as well. Markstrom's starting to piece things together, although we know the Oilers love lighting him up. The Flames are getting some depth scoring. Calgary's starting to play good, but still the Oilers are only a point behind them in the Pacific Division standings. All of that is to say the Oilers need to play good tonight against a good opponent, and this is a big game in the standings.
100%. Like you hope Markstrom, who's been on a bit of a heater, is feeling a little confident, but is starting to, this is the beating the Oilers, the true test for him to see if he has actually improved his play for the season. So maybe mentally he maybe overthinks this a little bit, and Connor and Leon are just living in the Markstrom kitchen right now, cooking us all a delicious plate of eggs and bacon and peanut butter toast. But the reality is Calgary's starting to figure it out, and a bunch of new roster people had to find their way to gel in. But when the team subscribes and plays Daryl Sutter hockey, like, they are tough to play against, and that unfortunately is not our brand. We are not tough to play against. We just our brand is to try to outscore our mistakes. And thankfully Markstrom's in net, so that might be a boost of mental positivity for the Oilers roster going into this game. But we got to come in with some assertion and a level of intensity to be able to match with Calgary, because they're going to be coming for us, because we came and embarrassed them in the Dome last BOA, came back and won. And like I said, this one's been probably put on the calendar for many reasons. So Oilers are in tough, but I believe always I'll be betting accordingly. They're plus on the road, so I love that. But they got to figure it out. They got to be tough. They got to outwork these guys, because they're bringing their lunch pails to the Saddle Dome today.
We can get to the lineup for the Calgary Flames tonight. I mentioned they've mixed it up a little bit, going with a more balanced approach in their top 9. Elias Lindholm with Dylan Dubé and Tyler Toffoli is their top line. Nazem Kadri with Jonathan Huberdeau and Milan Lucic is the second line for the Calgary Flames. That's going to be a tough second line to play against. Michael Backlund with Blake Coleman and Andrew Mangiapane, Trevor Lewis with Adam Ruzicka and Brett Ritchie. The D pairings for the Flames are Hanifin with Anderson, Uyghur with Tanev, Zadorov with Michael Stone, and we already said that Jacob Markstrom's getting the start tonight. The Flames relatively healthy. The only regular they're missing is Oliver Shillington. For the Edmonton Oilers, their lineup tonight is actually staying pretty consistent to what we saw before the Christmas break. Hyman with McDavid and Puljujarvi, Draisaitl with Foegele and Yamamoto, Nugent-Hopkins with Janmark and Kostin. And actually that trio, Nuge, Kostin, Janmark, played more together than any other trio in the game against Vancouver. McLeod with Holloway and Derek Ryan. Holloway and Derek Ryan were the only forwards to be under 9 minutes in ice time against the Vancouver Canucks. The D pairings, it's Nurse with Ceci, Kulak with Barry, Niemelainen with Evan Bouchard. And starting between the pipes tonight is Stuart Skinner. Jay, you were wondering what his numbers were in his last 10 games. He is 5-4-1 with a .902 save percentage and a .301 goals against average. So his numbers are slipping, but hopefully Stuart Skinner can get things back on track, because you think back to that last game at the Saddle Dome, he was actually really good in that game. Maybe his numbers weren't the prettiest, but thinking back, he had some big stops.
Yeah. I like that we're spreading it out a bit, but you know what? I think Nuge needs to play the wing. I think he's got to be the second line winger. Like, we're paying him to be a winger now. You know, he adds. I think it'll make playing with like that Leon line way better, and that's just an issue of kind of the depth that we have on the rosters, that we actually should move Nuge to the third line to kind of spread it out. But in reality, that's an issue because he shouldn't be there. He should be on the second. He should be a second line winger. And, you know, as I just kind of get deeper and thinking about kind of how this roster's laid out, that's an issue. But it is what it is. So I love like Kostin's becoming a fan favorite. He does, you know, the things that we like to see. Like more consistency. Third line can continue to bring energy. Janmark's a smart, serviceable player, so I don't mind the line. It's just, why is Foegele with Draisaitl? I just
he's scoring a little bit there though.
A little, and I guess that's why you keep it. But like, keep it on a short leash. We're better if Nuge is your second line. We're a better team if Nuge is your second line winger, and we got to figure out the rest of the bottom six.
What I would do, because again, Nuge is scoring at nearly a 40-goal pace, or he is scoring at a 40-goal pace this season, and I think you need to play him with skill. You owe it to him to play him with some more skill. I would flip Hyman to the right side of that top line and go Nuge, McDavid, Hyman, and then I'd keep Draisaitl, Foegele, Yamamoto for now, because I think it's actually working okay, and then I'd go McLeod with Kostin and Janmark. And I mean, the chat is talking about how they don't like Puljujarvi on the top line. I'd almost go Puljujarvi, Holloway, and Ryan as the fourth line. And, you know, Ryan takes the draws and Holloway plays center once the puck hits the ice. And that's the way I'd go about it right now. You would basically be running it'd be a pretty clear-cut top six, bottom six.
Together?
Why not?
McDavid together is fantastic. Yeah. And you got that line's a juggernaut at that point. And then it just makes the second line still a little bit watered down, but you're right. Fogel's hot. Like he's been pull the trigger, and he had a good goal there the other game. Leon set him up nice, and he was able to tee off on that, and that's important. That's good for his confidence. But, you know, on our roster, Foegele should be a contributing third line player. And the issue is he's only contributing kind of in the top six. But yeah, I'm just sorry. I'm just staring at the lineup, and
trying to fix the problem yourself.
Let's go with it, right? Like, let's see what kind of comedy we have tonight. Hopefully it's one that ends in a win.
Mm-hmm. Adam is in the chat, says hot take, special teams will determine this game tonight. The Oilers penalty kill will absolutely need to be better tonight if they want that to happen. Their power play, never any concerns with that, but it's their PK that's been a huge black hole for them recently. Chris is in, says Foegele or Hologoal would be nice. Yeah, I don't mind that at all. Genesis wants to see it. Yeah, Genesis wants to see Foegele get one again tonight. He got that goal against Dallas, and it was a big one. It feels like Fogel's been a big goal kind of guy this year, too. just thinking back through when he has scored, like against Tampa, he had that shorthanded marker that got him off the schneid, and that was a big momentum creator for them in that hockey game. And then he scored the big winner against the Dallas Stars as well. So yeah, we'll see. The Oilers coming off a game again where they were up 2-0 after the first, just the second time this season they have lost when trailing after the first period. Someone named Breakup Boost is in the chat. Tyler, watching with my dad, Richard, he wants to know if you think they should trade Darnell for a $2x4 million D-man. No, you can't trade Darnell Nurse. We laughed about this in the office the other day. Like, you've committed to Darnell Nurse, you're paying him a boatload of money, and you signed him for a reason. He's a part of your core, drafted and developed, top 4 D-man. And if you think trading him is a decent idea, you think what Connor McDavid's reaction would be when you sit him down and say, hey, Connor, we're trading Darnell Nurse for a $4 million D-man. Wouldn't be a good one.
Well, let's stop it there. The other team that's trading the $4 million D-man is going to say no to the trade. So that's the reality.
Well, that too. Yeah. It's just not... You need Darnell Nurse to play through this. That is the unfortunate reality of the situation. That's it.
Mm-hmm. He's professional. He's got to figure it out. He got his ticket. He's got to figure it out.
A lot of people in the chat have high hopes for Klim Kostin in his first Battle of Alberta as an Edmonton Oiler. Someone was saying maybe he'll put Kadri out of the game. I don't hate that either. But let's get to our Sherwood Ford Giant keys to victory for tonight's hockey game. And I will start, and this kind of relates to the Klim Kostin thing, but the Oilers need to be hard to play against at 5-on-5 tonight. You need to make life miserable on the Calgary Flames D-man. If you're Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl, that means skill it up. Make their life hell when you're zipping the puck around the offensive zone and just wearing them out that way. If you are, I'd argue, almost anyone else on this roster, make their life difficult by hitting them every time you're within a stick length of them. No flybys, forecheck, finish all your checks as well. That will create turnovers. That will create zone time. That will create offensive chances. My big key to victory is to play hard at 5-on-5 against the Calgary Flames, because this is a team that's outshot the opposition at 5-on-5 in 7 consecutive hockey games. They've been good at 5-on-5 recently. You got to hammer them and win that battle. That is my big key to victory, Jay.
Yeah, we're not going to win the physical battle against Calgary. You went through the lineup. There's a lot of meat there. So, like, out hitting them is not going to be the area where we win that game. Yes, finish your checks and, try to knock pucks loose and break up cycles and do all those things to try to slow them down. But where we need to be on the skill side is skill, but speed. This is what won us the BOA playoff series. It was our speed. So we got to come out hot. We got to start on time. So we got to, I hope everyone's feeling light now. They've, had their Christmas dinner and they were able to kind of walk it off yesterday. But we have to bring speed to this game to have a real good chance to whoop the Flames, because that's where they can't keep up. So if everyone's skating, I feel like we've got a good chance. Same thing, like you said, Tyler, 5-on-5 to improve. I think we just kind of start our game and we are bringing the speed. They're going to be physical. That means going to be penalties. We're going to be drawing penalties against Calgary, and we got to just make sure our power play shows up against them tonight, and then just do a decent job on the PK and just stay disciplined. I think those would be my keys for the game. I know going into this BOA.
On the YouTube chat, we are 12 likes away from our like goal today. So if you're watching on the Nation Network YouTube, hammer that like button so we can get up to 47 for today's show. A bunch of keys to victory here in the chat. Mainlander Tim says score more than 3 goals. Yeah, that's probably a pretty good one. He says allow 3 or less goals. Yes, defensively, the Oilers need to be better. Chris says high-end talent goes sicko mode. I don't mind that one as either. McKay, I like this one from McKay. Honestly, I'd like to see more emotion from everyone. Work your ass off in forecheck, score, and yell like it's the Stanley Cup winner. We need to play more hungry. I've been saying that for a long time. This team needs to play with a bit more desperation and emotion. And, Derek Ryan scores the other day, and damn right, he's fired up. That was a big goal. And sometimes we see the fringe guys score and they get nice and fired up. I think everyone should. I know sometimes maybe for Connor and Leon, it's a little bit boring to, score your 25th goal in 35 games or whatever the hell the two of them are doing because they're on an amazing run. But I think that seeing the big guns play with a little bit more emotion and get mad, or when things are going well, get really into it and fired up, I think that has a bit of a trickle-down effect on the rest of the roster. The Oilers need to play with more emotion tonight. Someone else said, it was Epiphany, who said, key to the game, start on time. If you are not getting up for this hockey game tonight, you shouldn't be in the NHL. You shouldn't be an Edmonton Oiler. If you are not fired up from the second you step on the ice for warm-ups in that building tonight, you should be on waivers tomorrow morning. Like, they need to play with some serious emotion in this hockey game.
We got to find our chip. Like, what's our why? Like,
Yeah.
what's our motivation? And the chip is that, like, everyone just thinks we're a two-man team. Like, Connor and Leon are doing their thing. They're getting their points. And yeah, you know what? They need to play a little bit better in the sense of stop giving the puck away. Yes, they're scoring in droves and they're setting records and they're on crazy paces. Like, it's fantastic. But, like, that's going to motivate the rest of the squad. Like, the Oilers aren't just a two-man team. Like, that should be their mantra. And everyone should be playing collectively to try to prove everyone wrong, even though, the reality is we are a two-man team. Well, that's a lie. We're a five-man team. But that should be the motivation. Like, this is like Vegas Golden Knights. They're the misfits. They're a bunch of third liners, and like that's what bonded them together. And they just played really hard and they went really far. So we got to find that why for us to get back on the rails this season to motivate everyone. And that should also piss off Connor and Leon. Like, they're leaders of this team. Like, it's a team effort. So do what you need to do to pick up your team. Like, that's your chip. Like, get everyone going, get everyone fired up. You're right. There's no energy. Like, me, like, I love saying, where's the fire? There's no fire right now on anyone. And we got to get that.
Yeah.
Like that's what motivates you to go that next level, to chase that puck down, to do the thing when you're exhausted, to try to break up a play. Like, these are all the things we need, to have to beat good teams and also beat crappy teams. Like, yes, very good point. I could rant on it forever, but I'm excited for tonight because they put in a good effort, they get a win, and then we feel better about going into the new year. Like, we have an interesting schedule coming up. Seattle twice here right away. We play the Jets, who are really good. Like, these are good matchups for us to kind of see where we're really at and also make some moves in the standings. So find your fire, boys. Find the fire.
My little key to victory, and some people said it in the chat, you need everyone to be contributing. You need 12 forwards all doing their job. But also against the Calgary Flames, Connor McDavid's pretty good. 51 points in 36 regular season games in his career for number 97 against the Flames. He scored that big goal off the Markstrom turnover the last time they met. The little key to victory is, get 2 points, Connor. It'll go a long way if Connor McDavid gets 2 points. He gets some depth scoring as well. That's all important. But a big performance from the big guns tonight. I won't complain. It's a big divisional game. It's going to be a tight one. You could jump into the Calgary Flames tonight. It's not the worst thing in the world if the big guns have a big night, is all I'm saying. So that's my little key to victory. Everyone play with emotion, but McDavid and Draisaitl also kind of do your thing tonight,
Well, they should show up. Like, this is an important game. Yep. Like, exactly what you just said. They win, they're in the playoffs. Like, they're in the playoff spot. So, like, that should be Connor's motivation. Connor, but the thing with us is that we're reliant on Connor to having to get 2 or 3 points a night to win games. Like, Of course, in a big game like this, Connor shows up and gets 2 or 3 points because that's what Connor McDavid does. He steps up, big games, big situations, and he's the game breaker. Like, that's why he makes $12.5 million. So, like, there's no, there's nothing to be embarrassed about that. So, yeah, Connor, go and level up, and then everyone just like subscribe to this energy that Connor McDavid is when he's out there, and just everyone just follow suit and do your part. You don't have to score tonight to contribute. You have to remember that. Like, it's a 12-man roster. We don't need to have everyone scoring tonight, but go and get your guy. Break up that play. Do not give up on the play. Just pay attention and just keep moving your feet. Everyone, if you do that, that's a team effort. And if Connor happens to get 5 points tonight, that's fantastic. That's exciting, but who cares? We get a W, and that's what we need tonight.
We are 4 likes away from hitting our like goal on the Nation Network YouTube. So if you're watching along there, hammer that little thumbs up button for us so we can get our goal. Jay, 2 points for Connor McDavid. I could see that happening. Maybe the Oilers win as well. Let's talk about where we're laying our money in our Betway bets of the game tonight.
Well, for me, I'm doing two things. Oh, sorry.
Yep, there's a bumper. There's a bumper. But what do you
I was
like
too
tonight?
excited. Yeah. Well, Connor loves the Flames, and so does Drive. So I'm probably gonna. I don't know if I'm gonna parlay the win with 2 points, but I probably will because I love chasing the juice. So probably do the two. It's probably gonna be over. So I'm gonna go Oilers over 6.5. Connor 2 points with a light little sprinkle, and I'm gonna go heavy on the money line plus 125. That's juicy enough. So I'm gonna go big on the money line tonight and see if I can win back some of the money I lost on the Canucks game.
Yeah.
Embarrassingly enough.
Yeah, I'm
Funny
with you on
enough.
that. The Oilers plus 125 on the money line. Like you said, I like that spot. Plus 190 in regulation. And if you want to get really juicy with this one, the Oilers minus a goal and a half is plus 260. Betway has a big selection of pre-built bets, including, maybe you want to throw a little Oilers to win. Connor McDavid, 2+ points at plus 225. I think that is a pretty solid spot in this hockey game. There's some big juicy ones as well. Oilers to win, Leon to score, and over 6.5 at 6-1. I might be targeting that as well. Also, because it's my favorite bet, Zach Hyman over 3.5 shots. I'm taking that one today. It's paying out minus 110. He's been crushing it consistently. I'm not worried about him not hitting that one at this point. It seems like most games he's getting a ton of chances. He missed it last game, but he does not miss it 2 in a row. So Hyman, shot prop. And I like the Oilers on the money line as well tonight. It's the holiday season. And again, this Oilers team is unpredictable. They play bad teams, they play bad. They play good teams, they play great. Doesn't make sense, but that's the way it goes. Shout out to our friends at Betway 19+. Please play responsibly. Jake likes Oilers plus 1.5, McDavid goal, and a Nuge power play point. Tyler Mulick is in with the bag milk special. Over 1.5 power play goals tonight. And I think that one could hit as well. We could probably see a handful of power plays in this one for either side. So over 1.5 power play goals, probably a pretty safe bet as well. Shout out to our friends at Betway. As always, they're your spot if you want to lay a little coin on the hockey game tonight. If you have a little extra coin laying around and you want to do some Boxing Day shopping, maybe you want to hit up our friends at the Sports Closet, sportscloset.ca. They do have some Boxing Day specials on, so you can check them out there. You can go in store, St. Albert Mall, Sherwood Park Mall, and Kingsway Mall. Maybe you want to pick up a fresh jersey. Your favorite player, I got a nice Leon Draisaitl behind me hanging up. Maybe you want some of that new reverse retro gear. If it wasn't under the tree on Christmas, they got specials, Boxing Day specials, sportscloset.ca. All right, Jay, it's a 7 o'clock puck drop tonight. That's actually kind of nice. It feels like a Saturday night because it's the middle of the holiday season and nothing makes sense right now. Time is standing still, but 7 o'clock puck drop tonight between the Oilers and the Flames. Enjoy the hockey game.